Hi, welcome to Strong as You Think. Today, I want to talk about something that some of us call inner authority, and that's kind of the trust and confidence that we have in ourselves to make our own best decisions, that we are the pilots of our own lives, and that we know best. Now, we also know that we cannot be experts in everything. So, how does that work together? How can we be our own best experts for our own lives, but still know that there are other experts out there? I think that part of that means that we can trust ourselves to study something out and then go to it or someone else that we trust to see if maybe we have some blind spots, or just to gain information, but trusting that we have the ability to find the information and to make the best choices for our lives and for those that we have stewardship over, that we are in charge of. It gets tricky though, because in our world, we have a lot of information. We have so much information available to us. And for us to be able to try to take advantage of all that information, there's just not enough time and brain space to take in all of that information that's available to us. We have to choose where that is and know that there are other people who know more than us about certain things. So, how do we show inner authority, but also proper trust in other outside authority? So, I think one way to know that you might be off on that is that you're delegating all your choices to the experts. Instead of thinking about it and studying it out, you just let them choose for you. I see this in politics. Sometimes I call this intellectually lazy, where someone has chosen a politician or a leader that they trust or they agree with, that they like. And instead of studying any issues out, they just see what this particular person says about it and take that to be their choice. So while they may know more about it than you, you want to maybe take a moment to look into it and maybe see what someone else has said and look at a few things before you just are taking the information of this one person. And it's interesting because in our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I think some people accuse us of following blindly, that we just listen to prophets or the scriptures and just follow them blindly without asking. But it's really interesting because in our scriptures in Doctrine and Covenants, chapter 9, verses 7 through 9, this is what it says about it. Someone has asked God for an answer, and this was the answer that God gave back through the prophet to this individual. He says, "Behold, you have not understood. You have supposed that I would give it unto you when you took no thought save it was to ask me." So he's asking a question of God, who many of us believe is the perfect place to ask, right? And it didn't say not to ask, but he said, "You took no thought save it was to ask me." And so then in verse 8, it says, "But behold, I say unto you that you must study it out. Then you must ask me if it be right. And if it is right, I will cause that your bosom shall burn within you. Therefore you shall feel that it is right. But if it be not right, you shall have no such feelings, but shall have a stupor of thought, which shall cause you to forget the thing which is wrong." So God still wants us to come to him, but he wants us to study it out in our minds first. He wants us to get the information. He wants us to make a decision, right? and then come to him to see, am I missing something? Is there a blind spot? What can I do more? And I think this is a great lesson. We can use this with God, but I think that we can use this with other areas in our lives as well, because there are areas where we have stewardship, where we have control. I have 4 kids, and there's a lot of parenting advice out there. And it's wise to look at them, but each one of my children are different. And there are some things that I've done different with each child and taken different parenting advice from different sources. And I studied it out and then, asked God if it was right, or just asked myself, my conscience, like, what makes sense to me? And then asked God. And that's how we grow. If our purpose on earth as a human were to just do what God says, he would tell us, we would have this manual for everything that we needed to do. But that's not the experience that we're supposed to have. We're supposed to have questions. We're supposed to have doubts. We're supposed to have things that confuse us, that we just don't know. And we do the work to research. We do the work to learn. And we do the work to try something out. And sometimes it doesn't work as well as we thought. And we go back and we try again. And that doesn't mean that we're wrong, that they're bad. Sometimes we can use that as an excuse to keep wanting to delegate our authority of something to an expert, right? But we are becoming our own experts. And we are the experts of the things that we have control over. Our own lives. Some of us, it's our businesses, our children, our families, the things that we have control over. So I would just invite you to see where you might be giving that inner authority away in your life. And sometimes it seems like a good thing because it seems like someone you should be asking, like God. But God really wants us to learn it ourselves and then take it to him. And with all of our things, we are learning how to trust ourselves and to trust our own judgment and to learn to make these decisions and to grow into a stronger person, which is part of God's plan. So I would offer you to think about, when are you just quickly making these decisions so you don't have to be responsible, or so you don't have to do the mental and emotional work involved, because it's hard. It's easy to want to do that. And part of us, like, our brain is going to tell us, let's do that. This is efficient. Someone else already has done the work. So why wouldn't I take theirs? And that's not saying that we do everything from scratch from ourselves, but we don't just take it blindly, that we look at it and at least make an evaluation of, how does this fit in my life? How does this make sense to me, before just blindly doing that? So I would invite you to look at your life and the things where you have control, and just make sure you're taking those extra steps to make sure that you feel good about it before you go on to ask God, before you go on to let someone else make that choice for you. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.